Having big forearms makes you look jacked, but it also tells me a ton about your movement and breathing. So if you play a sport like golf, cricket, tennis, where you need rotation, or even if you play a multi-directional sport like football or rugby and you don't want to have the turning circle of a bin lorry, then definitely listen to this. So 80% of your movement is going to be in the mid part of your spine. Draw a little guy here. So the mid part of your spine is 80% of your movement. So this is because, and a very interesting relationship is with your scapula here and your forearms connection. So this is what I'm saying. So if your forearm is a big indicator of how this is moving. And so you want your scapula to move in a nice even plane. You want it to move around so you can move the shoulder joint up here. But what we often see is we see compression. So if I get rid of this, you see compression of this scapula right here going back in towards the spine. That's the spine. It's not middle of a road. That's the spine. So if your scapula is being pushed back in towards the spine, it brings this down and in towards the spine. So you get this compression, you get this tightness at the back, which restricts rib cage movement, which restricts the trunk movement overall, which limits you in things like bat and ball sports, tennis, cricket, golf, etc. But also limits you in terms of turning, movement, overhead throws in football. If you're in a sport like football, you need to be able to turn on a pound coin. You need to make sure that trunk rotation is as free as possible. And 80% of that movement is here because of these compressions here. Now, the other thing you can often get is winging of the scapula, which is something you've probably heard about from your PTs. If you're in coaching programs, they talk about winging of scapula. So this is where the scapula itself lifts up and off of the back here and away from the spine. This is also impedes movement because it means it brings the shoulder joint forward, which quite often leads to a rounding of shoulders. So you lead to this little like bringing forward of shoulders. Now, there's all compensatory mechanisms for poor movement in the scapula itself. So you need to address the scapula and get that moving a lot more efficiently. And here's one exercise you can do to start doing that. Okay, so this is a nice, easy exercise you can do to help improve scapular movement. To get yourself a nice resistance band, just a normal little, like this is just a cheap one off Amazon. And the mistake here is going too heavy. You don't want to go too heavy, you don't want to go too light. You want to go around the mid band, the blue band, the level 2, whatever one set you've got. And this is super easy. Just wrap it around both wrists because the forearm is the indicator for your scapula, as we've been saying. And you want to get it against a nice wall here. And all you want to do is just bring your arms out slightly so you feel resistance. And then stand up nice and tall and straight. Now I'm going to do the movement and then I'll explain it. So you're going to go like this, nice and tall and straight. Move your arms out. And then you're going to push back against the wall. And then come back in. Move your arms out, push back against the wall. And then move your arms back in. And you're going to do this for about 6 to 7 reps and do about 2 or 3 sets of this. And this is going to help with scapular movement. Now, like the mistakes I was saying is going too heavy with the band, but it's also moving your spine down, losing your posture as you move back. So you want to move the hands out slightly so you can get some resistance. And then you want to move the scapula back. You don't want to crush the spine and lose your posture.